Good afternoon, everyone. How are we today? Good? All of you had good lunch? I hope none of you is going to sleep, wake up. I'll keep asking you questions. Okay. Hi, my name is Archana Singh and I am a tourist. My job is basically to inspire people to become tourists. So I inspire my friends to become tourists, I inspire my family to become tourists, I inspire strangers to become tourists. And the best part, I get paid to tell people to become tourists. Sounds interesting, right? In fact, it's the best time to be in this industry. Reason being, all the people who are sitting here and millions of people who are not here, we are a part of $8.8 trillion industry, which has become the 4th largest export industry in the world. Big numbers, right? So, new hotels keep coming up now and then, new cruise lines get launched, new airlines get launched. There's a lot of money everywhere. We are talking a lot of business. So, as a travel professional, I should be feeling, hey, I am in the best industry, everything is going great, and everything seems to be perfect. But is it so? Not really. In fact, the reality is today, tourism is considered as a problem rather than as a solution, especially in a time when world over, people are trying to find out solutions, how to combat climate change and sustainable living. Travelers or tourists are seen as nuisance wherever they go. They are seen as somebody who are destroying destinations, who are throwing garbage in the oceans, who are polluting the air that we breathe in. And I'm not surprised that, when you go to places like Barcelona, Madrid, or recently in Prague, the kind of spicy welcome that we get. We are welcomed by this kind of stuff that you see, like tourist, your luxury trip is my daily misery, or travel or tourism is terrorism. Tourists go back home. Because what has happened is, in our urge to see new places, we have forgotten the locals. We have tried to start taking it for granted. We are not taking care of how people feel. Imagine somebody comes forcefully to your house, he doesn't let you eat your food, he doesn't let you go on a walk, like he doesn't let you do. How will you feel? You won't feel good, right? But is that it? Should we all stop traveling? Should we give up on air travel, on different kinds of travel? What should we do? So today this session is all about, like I work with a lot of destinations and a lot of brands, and there are a lot of best practices which some people are following, and especially in the Nordic countries and European countries and other countries, so which I'm going to share, and how we can use them to develop tourism. So, one of the way to find out, how travel can be a part of a solution and not just a problem is going back, taking a step back and seeing what was travel, say, some 50 years back, and how has travel today, what has changed. So, some 50 years back, there were 25 million tourists, and it was about the brave people who would go out on uncharted territories, who would want to explore a destination for its uniqueness, for its authenticity, and who would want to visit it because they want to explore the place. It was all about the place. But today, thanks to internet, thanks to lower prices, thanks to increased affordability, travel has become safer. Yeah, destinations are not considered to be unsafe unless and until there's something as lethal as like a coronavirus that we are seeing right now. And then travel has become very popular. Earlier, at max during our summer vacations, we would go to our Nana Nani's place or Dada Dadi's place. Today, if you are working, you need to take at least 2 trips a year, and if possible, 1 trip out of the country. So travel has become very popular. It's become mass market. It's no more restricted to just few people. It is not a luxury anymore. It's become a want. Everybody wants to travel. And it's big business, 8.8 trillion, that's huge, huge. 1.4 billion tourists and 8.8 trillion US dollars, those are really big numbers. So, and unfortunately it's become all about tourists. It's all about look at me, you just want to go to a great place and just want to click a selfie. It's no more about the place. So is travel today so bad? Is there nothing good in it? Well, actually, we can solve the problem of travel that we are facing today by going back, taking the positives of how travel used to be there and marrying it with the business. For example, certain values like talking about uniqueness, about the authenticity, and about big business. We can marry that. So I'm going to share some 5 points, how you can transform tourism from being a problem to a solution. Tourism should be beneficial for 3 things. And if you look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, you see they are basically for 3 things. One is about the people. It has to bring up the people in the poverty. And we have actually come a long way. What it used to be there, the earlier objectives which were set by United Nations, we actually achieved them 2 years back. So it's not something that can't be achieved. So one is about the people, second is about the planet. We don't want our planet to not be there, and that's why all these conversations which are going on about climate change, whether it is Greta talking or whether it is scientists, it's very good for the planet. We need to be very, very careful about the resources, how we are utilizing them, how we are leaving them for the next generation. And travel should be done in a way that it not only benefits the people, not only takes care of the planet, but it also brings prosperity. Prosperity to the travelers, prosperity to the destination. It should be good for all 3. The people who live there, it should be for the destination, and all the stakeholders, like all of you present here. You won't be in this business if you were not making money, right? So it has to be that. So here are the 5 things which we can try to adapt. Yeah, first is, this is the most important thing. If tourism doesn't take care of the locals, then tourism shouldn't be there. It has to benefit the locals. It has to start and end from the locals. We have to celebrate and support the locals. That's why when you book travels for your customers, or when you travel yourself, try and look at how you are benefiting the local community. Instead of eating at a, say, a restaurant which has like global chains, try and you eat at something which is locally sourced, which is a local there. Try and use a local guide over there, and try and buy the souvenirs which are not made in China, but which are made there only. By that, you are supporting the local economy there. And there are a few examples, some of the countries and some of the places who are doing it really well. One good example is our friendly neighbor, which is, So Bhutan is a country whose tourism industry is built on a very simple principle, which is high on value and low on volume. That's why they limit the number of people who enter the country. They make you travel with their set tour operators, travel agents. So every day you have to commit to a certain amount. You can only travel there, which is usually $200 to $250. In case of Indians, that fee wasn't there, but starting from, I think, Feb, March, even we Indians have to pay that money. But the good thing about this is they know that their asset is only their unique landscape and culture. They have to protect it if they want tourists and their own generation to grow. And what they do is, the government, the amount that tourists have to pay that, out of that $65, that goes, that's called the sustainable tourism fee. And that fee is spent on solving their local problems, like it's spent on education, it's spent on healthcare, it's spent on infrastructure. That's why, like in Bhutan, you don't find red lights. You don't find problems which you would see otherwise. It's a very beautiful country to explore. So we can take some inspiration from our friendly neighbor. Then there is Laos. It's a very small country sitting between Vietnam, China, Thailand. Very small country which many would have not even heard the name. Like I was booking a ticket and I was talking to Go Ibibo guys and I was asking about the price. They didn't even know where it is. Is it in Nigeria? Is it like somewhere? They didn't even know where the place is. But they are doing something which is very interesting. They have this Luang Prabang Fund for Culture and Conservation, wherein they protect the local culture. The city is a UNESCO World Heritage City, because of which all these multinational chains like your Starbucks or your Pizza Hut, Domino's, those cannot come there. You cannot change the architecture of the place. So you get to experience a coffee which is made locally made, and I can't tell you the flavors. They are so, so good. Whether you want to try the local cuisine there, which is the Laotian cuisine, or you want to try the French cuisine because it was a French colony. The taste is mind-blowing. Like I have never had such fresh food as I had there, and damn cheap prices. And this is all because they have been consciously putting efforts to not let what they have, just go to the companies, outsiders. So they have something like this. And as tour operators, what we can do is when we are booking holiday trips, like how do hotels earn money? When they earn money, they don't just sell you a room. They try to sell you like, okay, breakfast, why don't you take the buffet breakfast, or why don't you take this package if you're going on Valentine's or you're going on some other. So those are the things which you make money, because when you're booking, it's last month or whenever you did the booking, that's your budget. When you go to the destination, you have more money to spend. So that's how you can benefit the locals more, and as a tour operator or as travel companies, you can try and sell those things, how you can help them. And travelers in general, they like to support local economy. Sometimes they just need to be told. Like, suppose you are selling a trip to Laos, like if they're booking a hotel with you, why not tell them that we'll give you an authentic Buddhist experience. We'll make you experience the alms-giving ceremony by not being an intruder, but rather watching it as a responsible tourist. Or for example, they have something unique wherein what they did was, it was a victim of war and a lot of bombs were dropped on the country itself. What they did was something very unique. They converted those bombs into souvenirs, souvenirs that you can bring. So why not, kind of sell them, say a workshop where you can learn how these people are transforming those bombs into souvenir items. So these are the kind of experiences which travelers would love, but you need to tell them. And it would benefit the place also. Now, coming to that, Mr. Talib Rafai, who was the United Nations WTO Secretary General, he said something very interesting, that tourism growth is not the enemy, bad management is. Take for example, Barcelona. They spent 1.5 million in the infrastructure of the city, but take a guess how much they would have spent in tourism promotion. Take a guess. Anyone? How much would they have spent on tourism promotion? Take a wild guess. Like 1.5 million was what they spent in developing the infrastructure of the city, but how much would they have spent? Huh? How much? Quarter million. No, so you're saying they spent lesser, right? Okay. Huh? Way above. Give a number. Double the budget. So you're saying 3 million. 12 million? Any more guesses? So 1.5 is what they spent on developing the infrastructure of the city. They spent a whopping 60 million on tourism marketing. So 1.5 million is what they spent on developing the roads, building the hotels, and building the infrastructure. But 60 million they spent on tourism market. And the result is this. What has happened is locals in Barcelona, they feel threatened. They feel their places have been taken away from them. The rents are so high in the city center, they can't live, they can't eat at their place. Imagine, you are staying in Barcelona or any place, for example, Prague. Like Prague was recently in news where they are saying it's become so difficult that they can't get a house on rent because they are just giving it to Airbnb and other. Imagine you're staying in that city, on your street, which used to be very quaint. Every day, 50 or 100 buses pull up on your street. There are like 1,500 to 2,000 people who get down from those buses. Throughout the day, they are just walking up and down your streets. They are being loud. They are just talking loudly. They're just throwing trash in your streets. Your playgrounds where your kids used to play, they are being taken away by the buses. The coffee house where you used to spend your evenings, that's being taken away by tourists. Basically, whatever was yours is being forcibly taken by tourists. Would you like that situation? Would you say it is good? But what they would do is, okay, when they leave, they'll probably leave a little bit amount of money, which will give a little economic boost to your city, and you will probably be a little more richer than what you were earlier. But your life is completely turned upside down. You are not able to enjoy the city where you have grown up. That is not something anybody would want to. I would never want that situation to be. So, as travel professionals, we need to take care that a city can have tourists, but a tourist shouldn't have the city. Ultimately, it's the locals who have a first hand. It's their first right. So how do you solve that problem? What are you going to do? You'll tell them, sorry, we have reached our capacity. We can't accommodate you. जब आप ट्रैफिक में फंसते हैं, एक सड़क होती है, गूगल मैप जैसे आप देखते हो, उसमें बहुत ट्रैफिक जैम है, पूरा रेड दिख रहा है. What do? You still go on that road, you still get stuck, or do you find an alternative route? You find an alternative route, right? So, if you look at it, the problem is not over-tourism. The problem is imbalanced or unbalanced tourism, right? For every destination that has reached its capacity to welcome visitors, there would be 100 more destinations who would be willing to welcome tourists, who would be very happy to invite you because it will give an economic boost to those destinations. So as tour operators, as travel companies, we can really help there. We can play a role there. Like Google does it. Google tells you a way, okay, this is saving you 5 minutes, so why not go there? And we go there. Similarly, in the travel, if you know these months are going to be crowded, tell your client that this is going to be quite crowded. Why don't you do this? Give them an option. For example, Venice, we know how Rome, Venice, Florence, they have been grappling with this over-tourism problem, rather imbalanced tourism. So how they are solving it? Last year, I was in Tuscany, and I got to experience a product which is hardly known, but it gave me an experience that I had never seen Italy before. There's a trek called Via Francigena. It's a walk, like Camino. We have all heard about Camino, Spain. They have this walks. This is a 1,000-year-old pilgrimage walk. But this is a walk which gives you the real insight into a Tuscan lifestyle. You walk through vineyards, you walk through abbeys, you walk through UNESCO World Heritage towns. Every day is a new experience. The food that you eat, it is straight away coming from agro-tourism, like from the fields over there. Nothing is pesticide over there. You're drinking lot of wine, you're eating a lot of cheese, and for a moment, you don't feel guilty because you're walking. Every day you're walking certain kilometers and you are staying in the locals' houses. Like there are no 5-star hotels on this trail route. There are only, say, you stay in churches. All the basic facilities are there. And every day you are interacting with the locals. So now Italy, France, Switzerland, a lot of all these countries, they are promoting these alternative products. And in India also, there are some companies who are doing it, like For example, how many know about Banjara camps? Right. Okay. So what Banjara has been doing silently for the last 20, 25 years is something that we should all be doing, you know. They're all based around popular cities. Like for example, the properties are not in the big cities. They're little away, like they'll be from 15 minutes to half an hour away. For example, near Shimla, they have a place, Banjara camps and retreats in Thanedar. When you go towards Sangla, they have a property in a small village called Basteri. In Spiti, they have a property which is this, a village in, called Langza, which is above Kaza. And near Manali, they have a property in Sinogi. So what they're doing is, all these popular destinations, they get so crowded in summers. We all know, like how in Shimla, water level depleted. There was no water last year, and the locals were really hating it. We had actually disrupted their life. So just if you go, say, half an hour away or 2 hours away, you go to Thanedar, and where there's a small village. That whole village has been developed around this tourism. Similarly, in like this small village, it's a very interesting story. So they opened up a homestay in Spiti, and the guy who used to work there, Lara, he used to work there, but they kind of motivated him and, you know, motivated him so much that he opened his homestay in Langza. I stayed there, and trust me, no five-star hotel can give you the love, the care, the facility in terms of that, you know, that unique one-to-one kind of an interaction which you get when you stay there. So we should try and promote such properties more and try and let the audience know about it, because today's travelers, they have changed. It's not that they say, no, meko sirf Taj mein rukna hai, ya meko sirf isi jagah rukna hai. If you show them that how this product is better, how you'll be benefiting the local people out there, how you'll be benefiting the environment, they'll be more than willing to spend their money. And the best part is, they're even ready to spend more money, like what you would be able to get from them. By this, they spend more money. Now, coming to my next point. Sorry. Okay, third point. You know, I was talking about how travel has changed, how it used to be about unique destinations, unique places, and how it's become me too. Like wherever you go, everywhere, you know, when London Eye was put, every city decided to have, hey, let's have it in Helsinki, let's have it in Singapore, even Delhi has its own eye. Okay, then New York came up with I love New York sign, everyone got it. Amsterdam got it. In Mumbai, we have it for every location. I love Bandra, I love this, I love that. So, you know, the uniqueness has kind of gone. We are not celebrating what we are unique for. We are trying to make everyone wear a same dress, like it's going back to school, you wear the same dress. Everywhere you go in a place, there are like hop on and hop off buses, everywhere there's a museum, everywhere there is this. So you see the similar products. If you go to Paris, if you go to London, at the end of the day, they all look similar. And I've come across so many people who say that, you know, Europe to sab same hi lagta hai, Southeast Asia sab same hi lagta hai, because we are selling them the same products. If you try and sell something unique, they would love to do that. So you know, the countries, especially the Nordic countries, they are way ahead when it comes to sustainable development, when it comes to how they want to promote their countries. And they have been very clear that they say, we don't want tourists. In fact, I was talking to the person who looks after the Nordic countries tourism here in India, and he was saying Norway has told him that we don't want Indian tourists. And there's a reason, because they are focusing more on the value versus volume, and they are promoting their destination in a way that no other destination is promoting. For example, look at this video.
Awesome is rubbish. Don't believe me? Let me show you around. The international experience is frankly garbage. You have Peter. Then there's the food scene. A complete waste. Rubbish. this treasure.
So, what Oslo is basically doing is they are recycling. They are really, really ahead of the curve when it comes to other countries. They import waste from different countries to heat their homes. Most of their cars are now run on electricity or hydropower. They are way ahead. The saunas or the spas that they have, they are all run on recycled water. We saw like even in the food is repurposed, the cycles are repurposed. There people don't use cars or buses in the city, they use public transport or their own cycles which they use. And they are promoting the products which are little away, which gives you a very unique experience. For example, there was this product which they have, Flam Railways. How many of you have heard about Flam Railways? It's considered to be one of the most beautiful train rides in the world. It's really gorgeous ride where you get to see fjords and you get to see waterfalls, like the true beauty of Norwegian. But it has become so overcrowded with especially the Chinese tourists that now they are deselling it and they are sending people on trips like this. For example, this trip which is done by Up Norway, wherein they take you on Arctic bathing glow is what they call it, wherein they take you on the Arctic region. You are in a boat starting from 7 days to 12 days, totally cut off from the outer world. There's no internet. The food is very basic, like you fetch the fish from the sea and you eat it. But if you have, like if you're a vegetarian like me, then there's provision. You have to tell them beforehand. They arrange all that. But the experiences are so authentic. They've built these kind of stuff. Like imagine you are here and you see the northern lights. It's so unique. Compare it, you know, like this, and this is done by an architecture company. So they build architecture units which merge into the background and merge also, plus it kind of stands out. So they are creating these unique products which are not there, and they want to show the country, the visitors, how they are using sustainable tourism and how you should be able to do it. These are expensive trips, like these are not cheap trips. They would cost like somewhere between 2,000 to like per day, sometimes even more. So like 12,000 also, it depends. But the focus is on more on the value than the volume. Now coming a little closer, like in the region, Nordic region only, countries like Sweden, Finland and Norway, they have something which rest of the European countries they don't have. They have Sami people. Sami people are essentially the hunters and gatherers. They are the oldest tribe in Europe. They have existed long before Vikings or long before the countries were born. Their culture is very different, the way they dress is very different, their language is very different. They even have their own parliament. Their life has completely dependent on reindeers, you know. And now they're using it, they become a part of the mainstream, but still they are preserving their culture, and these governments, they are taking steps to popularize that. Like last year, because of Adventure Travel World Summit, I got to spend a week with these people in Sweden where we were hiking in the Dalarna mountains between Norway and Sweden for 7 days. I was hiking with a reindeer herding family. There was a reindeer with me who was hiking. Every day we would forage our dinner, like we would forage the berries and we would cook using how they were doing. He sang a song, like a Sami song, which is very similar to yodeling, but it was different. And we got to know the culture from as an insider, rather than, you know, trying to just get a one memento or one picture. You became a part of that. So this is the kind of unique product which these destinations are promoting. Then a little further away, sorry, is this, you know, ethical brown bear watching in High Tatras in Slovakia. Slovakia is a very small country near Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary and Austria. It's there. And High Tatras is something where you get to see the alpine beauty at the price of 1/3 of experience, and brown bears, which are kind of wiped out from whole of Europe. You get to see them in their natural habitat. But you have to work a little harder to see them. What you have to do is you have to wake up early, you have to cycle, like you don't go in jeeps, you cycle. There are set points where you can see these brown bears in their local area, and every day the place differs because it depends on the bear, where he will be sitting, what he will be doing. But it's an ethical way of watching brown bears, and there's a company called Adventura. So they are completely geared up for ethical tourism. So when you are selling products, sell these kind of products to your audience. Tell them that the experience which you will get, you are not going to get anywhere. It's very easy to get a picture at an Eiffel Tower, and hundreds of people will have that. But how many people will have an experience like this, like living with a Sami family, or watching the brown bears? Like, why is jungle safari so popular? Because you get to see them in the jungle, in their habitat. Otherwise, you can see a lion, tiger, brown bears in zoo, but it doesn't give you an idea how they live. So it's very important to support that. Now, this is a point which is extremely, extremely, extremely important. I cannot tell you that I really is talking about this point. We have to protect the key assets. Imagine India without Taj Mahal. Most of the people, when they come to India, it's because of Taj Mahal. But the key assets are being destroyed around the world. In Rio, now you can't swim in the water, it's being destroyed. Great Barrier Reef is getting destroyed. Pyramids are getting destroyed. The jungles in the bushfire are getting destroyed everywhere. So, as countries, we really have to protect. And some of the countries are doing it right. Like, for example, Palau Island. They have this is the only country in the world. It's probably such a small country, many of us would have not even heard its name. But what they're doing is very interesting. When you land at the airport, so when you get a stamp on your passport, their stamp looks like this, where you have to declare something worthwhile at a customs. You are making a pledge, which is called Palau Pledge, where you say that you will travel like an ethical traveler, and you will not destroy their island. You want to save it for their future generations so that they can enjoy it. You will travel ethically. It's so interesting, it's a very small thing, but somewhere when this thing gets there, stamped on your passport, you remember it, you become conscious that you will deliberately not try to destroy that island. Unfortunately, Chinese and Indian travelers, they have a very bad reputation, like wherever they go, we try and destroy that. So, yeah, that's the reality. That's why we see what happened in Switzerland. There was this thing which was put up, or other countries. So, these initiatives, they really help. Then, like how Uganda did, they did a beautiful thing. What they did was, they increased the fee, permit fee, from $750 they made it $1,500. They decreased the number of permits from like almost 1/3 was decreased. And guess what? Their revenues increased by 25%. So sometimes, limiting actually helps. And this, Italy keeps coming up, but I think they are the ones who are like very famous in the world, and they are doing some right things after doing a lot of wrong things. Like Cinque Terre, Italy. Everybody wants to go in the Mediterranean, wants to see this beautiful town, which is a UNESCO World Heritage town. But it was being destroyed by travelers. Imagine there were like 2.5 million travelers every year in your villages. They were like completely destroying it. So after a lot of deliberation, they came to this point. They said, okay, we're going to make it like a lottery system. So we're going to only print 1.5 million tickets. Deliberately, they printed only 1.5 million so that people can go in the town, they can get pictures. And now, I was just reading like just a few months back, their mayor has requested the trains to not book so many people. Like there should be only a limited number of people who can come. And this is all that you can enjoy the destination. And then is this, I'm sure many of you would have seen the picture. This is a beautiful example of wave rock in Antelope Canyon. So they have this lottery system where they only give 20 passes a day. And why do they give it? Because they want you to have a beautiful experience. They want you to have a picture like this when you go there. And their profits have increased a lot when they limit it. So sometimes putting a cap is actually helps capital, putting capital back. And we as travelers, this is something, we can really bring a big change in the world. There are 1.5 billion tourists every year, which are traveling around the world. Imagine if even half of those tourists, half of those travelers could spread the good ideas, like all the ideas which are shared today, those are experienced by me. If I would have not gone there, I would not be sharing it with you. We can use social media in a very positive manner and use tourism to bring positive change in the industry. For example, how many of you know about this brand Freitag from Switzerland? Okay, so why I'm showing this is, sometimes we really don't have to invent the wheel altogether. There are millions of ideas around the world. Sometimes just knowing them and telling other people could inspire, could actually change a lot of things. For example, this company called Freitag, they started a company in 1993. There were two brothers by the name of Freitag, only Daniel and Marcus. It was in 1993, they were in Zurich, and they were looking to save their creative work from rain and from whatever was happening, and they wanted something which was good for the planet. And a truck passed, and they saw, hey, this tarpaulin which is used on the truck, it's very good quality. It can be recycled, it's durable, it lasts forever. Let's make bags from it. So what they decided to do was they started making bags which only had three products, three ingredients. One was this tarpaulin from these trucks, then there was these tubes from bicycles, the tubes, and then there was these seat belts which we wear in the cars, and they started making these bags. These bags, their life is unbelievable. They last 15, 20 years and more than that. Every bag is recycled, every bag is unique. So I recently ended up to their store, and it was quite interesting. Like most of the people who were there in Zurich, they were carrying it. It became Europe's first company which inspired these biking or the young guys to go in for the recycle. Similarly, in Sweden, there is this company which manufactures clothes from recycle, and in fact, this time even at the awards, the BAFTA awards and other awards, all these celebrities, they were wearing clothes which were recycled. So it's sometimes just sharing those ideas can actually inspire a lot of people. How many of you know that 2020 UN year is of what? What has UN declared this year as? United Nations. Like 2017 was an year of sustainable tourism. So this year is actually the year of plant health. And this is actually one of the most important things that we are grappling today. People cutting trees for building hotels, for building a lot of properties. So you can actually do a lot. The case in point is RA. It was all about the awareness, how people spread it and how they could get a stay on that. So sometimes you could bring a big change by just spreading the ideas. So if I were to just sum up the 5 things that can actually transform tourism from problem to a solution is celebrate and support the locals, make tourism balanced, be unique, protect the key assets, spread the word. Now, okay, fine, you say, okay, I'll do all this, but what is in it for me? Why should I be doing this? I'm here to make money. Why should I be bothered? Well, it definitely helps, and it definitely helps you save money, the money which you spend on compliances, the R&Ds and all that. If you're a sustainable company, if you focus on that, you save a lot of money. It enhances your brand reputation. A lot of studies have shown that the companies who have a good reputation, they do very well when it comes to stock. And then employees are motivated. The attrition rate is very low in the companies which are environmentally sustainable, who are taking care of the planet, and goodwill with travelers. The Booking.com did a survey where they found out that 59% of the people said that they are okay to pay extra money if we know that the company we are booking it, they will be spending that money for the greater good of the planet. So, let's transform tourism and make it more sustainable so that we can save this planet for our children and the future generations. So from being a problem, let's become a part of a solution. Thanks a lot.